If you haven't tried this gun, or if you haven't tried these low volume, low pressure paint guns, these paint guns are great for the DIYer, the hobbyist, the guy working out of the garage with no paint booth. They really consume a lot less materials. There's a lot of material savings when you're using this gun, and they produce a lot less overspray. I'm going to show you how you can set it up so you can get the minimal amount of overspray and still produce a beautiful looking finish. We're going to be painting this Ford F-250 right here. Actually, we've already painted the roof and the hood. We'll be blending the tops of these fenders and clear coating today. We're going to use the InnoCraft Drizzle D1, the low volume, low pressure paint gun, and I'm going to show you how well this works today. Let me just talk about how we're going to set this gun up. Okay, so I've got the fan pattern wide open, and I've got my fluid volume 3 turns out from closed. So if you look right on there, I don't know if this is going to focus, but right in here, there's actually some little marks that tell you how open your fluid volume is. And I've got it set at 3. Now we might dial that back a little bit. We're going to adjust it as we go. Now as far as for base, we're going to run it at about 24 psi, maybe a little bit less. All we're doing is blending the tops of these fenders. There's a couple little areas I want to hit with some color. This got some chips in it, but you know, it's just a blend panel. We're going to tack it off before we spray it. We've already washed this down with prep solvent, and then right before I spray it, I always wipe it down with isopropyl alcohol. I feel like that helps keep the static down. And I always use microfiber towels. These are the microfiber towels I use. I picked these up at Walmart. You can also get them on Amazon. Let's grab a tack rag. We'll wipe this down real quick. We'll gear up, and I'll share with you how to spray a base coat clear coat finish. Okay, we've got our Crystal Bay tack cloth here. There's a variety of different tack cloths you can use. Some are low tack. These are more of a high tack. So basically this is just a sticky cloth. And if you have any questions, definitely leave them down in the comments below. That's why I'm here, guys. That's why I'm doing these videos, is to answer your questions and help you with your repair or your restoration project. You can also like this video, subscribe to the channel. All that helps the channel grow, and I appreciate your support. So we've got this tacked off. Let's tack this side off as well. So since this is a blend panel, we don't want to get a bunch of color up against this door. But I do have some scratches and some little chips right here. I want to put a little dust coat on that, and then I have a little burn through down here at the bottom. I'm going to hit that, but mainly I'm going to keep the coat right here. I'm going to put one coat on it. I'll hit those little areas, and then we'll let this flash off for about 10 minutes. I just got this little burn through right there. I'm gonna put a little color down there too. Okay, that's the first coat. Okay, let that sit for about 10 minutes and we'll come back, put another coat on. So this is flashing off. So let's go ahead and put on our second coat. Now I'm kind of dusting it down here a little bit. Get this spot right there. All right, let that flash off. I think that's probably about it. I might just do one more light dust coat, blend it out, and then we'll clear. All right, we're gonna put one more coat on this. So the reason we're doing this is because we painted the hood, and this truck has faded so badly in the sun. We want to blend into the fenders, make sure the color matches. You know, normally you need to do that anyway, but specifically in this case, the fenders had faded so badly that we needed to make sure we do the blend on it. So we'll just put one more coat on, and then we'll put some clear on this. Now I'm just going to dust. I'm going to pull back a little bit and dust the coat on here, just so we blend it all in nicely, okay? So I'm getting a little bit farther back, and I'm going to dust this on. I want to hit that spot once again. That's it. I'll show you how we mix up the clear and what we're using and how that process goes. And then we'll lay down some clear. I'll share with you how to adjust your gun for clear coat, how to lay it down, some different techniques so you can get a good looking finish. Yeah, this is the clear coat we're using today. This is the Finish One FC710. This is a spot panel clear coat. It's a really good DIY clear coat or professional clear coat. I mean, this is what I use, and this holds up really well in the sun. I was going to use a slow activator, but I checked the temperature and it's about 49 degrees right now, so it's probably about 50-55 degrees in here. So I'm not going to use a slow, I'm going to use a medium. This is the Segola disposable cup system here. Has a micron filter on the lid, comes with these liners, liner housing with the lockdown collar. And these are really nice to use. This clear coat mixes up 4-to-1. So what you want to do here is you're going to find the 4-to-1 mixing ratio right here. Now this is 4-to-1-to-1, but we're just going to use the 4 column and the 1 column. We're going to put in the amount of clear that we want to use, that we need, probably to the 4. And then what we'll do is we'll go to the 1 column and we'll fill it. We'll fill it from that 4 to this 4 with activator. So that's a 4-to-1 mixing ratio. So 4 parts of clear and then 1 part of the activator. So we snap on the lid, and then I'm going to lift it up and make sure it's all sealed. Tighten down the collar. I am going to run some thinner through this gun just to clean it up a little bit. All right, we're ready to go. Not quite ready. You can tell this is just still a little wet. So we want it all to be a little bit dull. So once it gets a little dull, we'll be ready to go. We'll let this set for about 5 more minutes, and then we'll start laying down some clear. Okay, now it matted off just a little bit. It's ready for some clear coat. So the first coat of clear, we're going to apply medium wet. So we're not going to try and bury it in clear the first coat. Medium wet, because it's colder today. We don't want any reaction. We don't want any runs. Set the air pressure about 25 psi. So our fan pattern is wide open. Our fluid volume set at 2.5 turns out from close. So we close it all the way, turn it 2.5 turns out. We have our air pressure at 25 psi. We want to overlap our passes 75 to 80%, and you want to have a consistent distance from the panel and a consistent speed. We just want to introduce that clear coat to the surface so we can get a good setup for our second coat of clear. So if we have a few little dry spots, that's okay. We're not concerned about that at this point. Our second coat will correct all of that. So one little tip is if you're concerned about applying clear coat and pulling the trigger all the way, a lot of times, and in this instant, because this was a little bit colder, I feathered the trigger a little bit, so I'm not pulling that trigger all the way for the first coat. I want to see how that clear coat's laying on the panel before I commit to pulling that trigger fully. But this clear coat came out beautifully. Nice glossy flat finish. Now this fender has a couple little chips and nicks in it, and you're going to see those, and there is a few particles of dust in it, but it came out beautifully. But I want you to pay attention to the overspray that this gun puts off. It's very minimal compared to a conventional gun. So at 25 psi, we are spraying at a little bit lower pressure, but the amount of overspray is not much at all. And that's really going to help you guys out if you're painting out of your garage with no paint booth. And that's not to mention the amount of materials you're going to save by using a low volume, low pressure paint gun. Paint is very expensive. The less overspray, the better transfer efficiency you're going to have, and it's going to save you money. This is how I set up the low volume, low pressure paint gun under these conditions, a little bit cooler temperatures. But if you're spraying in normal temperatures, you're going to want to adjust that just a little bit according to the temperature you're spraying in. On normal temperatures, I would set this up at 28 psi on the air pressure, 3 turns out from closed on the fluid volume, and of course my fan pattern is going to be wide open. So on your first coat of clear, you want to have a consistent speed and a consistent distance from the panel. I'm a little bit farther away today just because it's so cold. I want that clear coat to atomize and before it hits the panel, and it's actually flowing out pretty nice. But you want to, on your passes, you want to make a pass and then you want to overlap that previous pass about 80%. But you want to have a consistent distance from the panel and a consistent speed. Now on my second coat, I'm going to slow down just a little bit. I'll still have the same distance, but I'm going to slow it down just a little bit, let that clear coat flow out a little bit better. We'll go for that flat finish or that OEM type finish. But if you're a beginner, you never want to start pulling the trigger on the panel. You want to pull the trigger off the panel and then move. Okay, this is tacky and ready for the second coat. It's been about 10 minutes. So if I touch here, it's not stringy, it's ready. Again, I'm going to go a little bit slower. Looks good. We'll take a look at it at the end. Okay, this is before it flows out. Okay, we're back in the garage today checking out the fenders that we blended yesterday on this F250. And overall it came out nice. You can see, nice finish. Now we do have a couple chips here that, like I said, this is a blend panel. We've got a few particles of dust that we're gonna nib out. So some of these are chips, a few of these are some dust particles. I did have a little bit of a run right here, and you can check that out. I'm in the process of removing that. All I'm doing is taking, this is some 1200 grit paper on this Kovacs block, and I'm just sanding it out like this. See how that shaves it down? Just like that. Once I get it pretty much level, I'll switch over to 2000 grit. And then we'll just go to 3000, 5000, and we'll polish and buff that out. That'll come out nice and easy. But overall, the finish looks nice, nice and slick. So that The InnoCraft Drizzle D1 did a nice job laying down the clear. The InnoCraft Drizzle D1 is a fantastic paint gun. I have no problem giving it a big thumbs up, and it is an absolute bargain at the price they're selling it for. If you want to check it out or pick one up for yourself, check out the link in my description. Listen, I appreciate each and every one of you watching. If you want to help support the channel, subscribe, follow, and share. And if you want to learn more, click on one of these videos now.